What up, what up, what up? Feels good to be at the desk. But if you don't know, see, what am I trying to do? Oh, man. Okay. If you don't know, the CEO of Dell is donating $6 billion to these Trump accounts. If you don't know what these Trump accounts are, it's if you got newborn kids, they're going to give each family that has a newborn kid, you're going to give them $1,000 to start an investment account, which is huge. And you can, once you get that investment account for your kid, let me see YouTube. Yeah. Once you get an investment account for your kid, you can actually invest in it as well. So they're gonna give you $1,000 in the Trump account, and you can put $5,000 per year towards your kid's future. That's huge. I don't want to do that. That's huge news, guys. That'll set you and your kid, that'll set your kid up for life. For life. If you have, let's say you have a newborn kid and you going to set yourself up with this investment account, this Trump investment account, as they're calling it. Even if you just sit on it till your kid turn 18, guess what's going to happen? Your kid is going to be six figures at 18 years old. That's the power of the stock market, guys. That's the power of the stock market. So we're going to watch this introduction. Appreciate y'all for joining us, tuning in. The power of investing. See, this is one thing nobody's talking about. They're not talking about this investment account for your kids. They're not talking about investing. So that's my job over here, to bring that to the table, bring it to the front of the congregation so everybody can understand what's really going on. So hold on a minute, guys. Let's get this together. Here we go. Appreciate y'all for joining me. Hit the like button.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, and we're thrilled to be joined by one of the most successful business leaders and people anywhere in the country, whether it's technology, no matter what business you're talking about, there's really nobody quite like him. He's chairman and CEO of Dell Technologies. Make great everything, great computers, great everything. Michael Dell, very much of a legend, who's here with his really exciting announcement. It's so amazing, and much more importantly, he's here with his wonderful wife, Susan, and they have a special relationship. I think I can say that, really. It's very nice. I don't see too much of it. I see the opposite, but I don't see too much. I have two special people. And I've seen that. I've known that for a long time, and I think it's a tremendous thing. Also, the CEO of Altamer Capital, Brad Gerstner. Where are you, Brad? Brad Gerstner is a terrific fellow who's very much involved in this incredible thing that we're doing today, along with the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, Chairman of the Senate Committee on Commerce and Science and Transportation, Ted Cruz, House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Jason Smith, Vice Chairman of the House Republican Conference, Blake Moore, as well as the Chief Design Officer. One of the biggest days of the year for philanthropy and charitable giving. And this afternoon, Michael and Susan Dell are committing to one of the largest private donations in American history, which will directly benefit the next generation of American children through the new Trump Accounts program. that we created in our One Big Beautiful Bill. And Michael and Susan came to see me along with Brad, and they said, this is an idea. And I said, I think, it's just so good and so unique. But that's why he's been so successful, and they've been so successful in life and in business, because they're unique. Trump accounts will be the first, I guess you could say, real trust funds for every American child, allowing family members, employers, corporations, generous donors to contribute money that will be invested and grow over the course of a child's life to be used for their benefit after they turn 18. So in other words, these are children that are going to, an investment's going to be made. That investment's going to continue to grow, we hope, right? We hope. And, but it will. And they'll feel like Michael Dell someday. But at 18, they'll have a lot of money, a lot more money than they would have had, and potentially a lot of money. But these accounts will track the overall stock market and will be 100% private property controlled by the child's guardians. In honor of America's 250th anniversary, the Dells are announcing today that they are giving 25 million American children $250 each to save and to invest in their personal Trump account. Now, that's the equivalent of $6.25 billion. In other words, to put it succinctly, Michael and Susan are giving $6.25 billion in total, and as a total contribution. That's big stuff. I don't care who you are. That's big. Come here, give me a hand.
This big news, guys. This big news. I don't know the age limit, but if you got kids, this Trump account is launching in 2026. Big things are happening in 2026. And this right here is one of the most powerful things that Donald Trump is doing. He's giving every parent with kids a Trump account. It's an investment account. Your kids' own personal portfolio. And they giving you, to start off the portfolio, he's giving $1,000. Even if you just let that $1,000 sit until that kid turns 18 years old. By the time that kid turns 18 years old, if you do nothing and just let that $1,000 sit, because the thing to catch to it is you can't touch it till the kid turns 18 years old. You can't take the money and go spend it. It has to stay inside the S&P 500, an index fund, which the index fund is a portfolio that tracks 500 of America's top companies. So with this Trump account, if you have a kid, once you sign up for the Trump account and you get it, and they give you, they put the $1,000 down payment inside of there, if you don't do nothing till the kid turn 18 years old, that's when the kid can get it. Once the kid turned 18, that kid, that Trump account will be, if you do nothing, will be worth 6 figures. That's huge. That's huge. But guess what? If you qualify for the Trump account, which you do if you end up having a kid. Now, I don't know the limit, the age limit, but if you got a kid and you get this Trump account and they start you off with $1,000 and you put $50 every week for 18 years, guess what's going to happen? Your kid, by the time your kid turns 18 years old, they'll be a millionaire. They will be a millionaire. That's the key and the power of long-term investing into the stock market. Let's go. Let's keep on listening to the rest of it.
Let me have a little of that luck rub off. That's fantastic, Susan. These gifts will be available to the first 25 million children aged 10 and under the zip codes where their median income is $150,000 or less. So they're giving them to children that won't be born particularly rich, and they're going to be hopefully very rich someday. This will give millions of dollars, millions of children, middle-class families a stake in American prosperity, a benefit from the rising stock market, and a better shot at the American dream. It really gives them a shot at the American dream. Michael and Susan, I want to thank you for this extraordinary act of kindness and patriotism and charity. This is truly one of the most generous acts in the history of our country. I mean, you don't hear about things like that, and we got to let people know he doesn't want and she doesn't care about that, but I do. I think when somebody does that, you got to let them know about it. As I mentioned, this gift is being made possible by the largest tax cuts in American history, which our Republican majorities passed earlier this year, and the Speaker worked so hard, and John Thune and Jason and all of them, every one of them. Ted Cruz is with us. He worked so hard getting that done. That was the biggest, most consequential bill, they say, ever passed. And, you know, if they remember, Michael, they thought we had to put that in 12 to 14 bills. I said, I don't know if we can hold it that long with the Democrats. And we said, let's try doing it once. So we did, and people were surprised, but we got it done. So I congratulate you guys. Amazing job. Under that bill, the federal government will also automatically be making a one-time seed contribution of $1,000 into the tax-deferred Trump accounts for every newborn U.S. citizen, fulfilling a promise I made in the 2024 campaign. Trump accounts should grow to be worth many thousands of dollars by the time the child is 18, and even more by the time they are 20 or even 30 years old. We think it's going to be something really unique and really special. We hope many others will follow Michael and Susan's example and make their own contributions. I'll be doing it too, to the next generation, including businesses, churches, philanthropists, family members, and parents themselves. I think we're going to have a lot of people, Susan, I think a lot of...
Shout out to the Dell family. If you don't know who the Dell family is, they are the Dell computer. That's the Dell family. They're in technology, they're in computers, big billion-dollar companies. Dell, Dell Computer. They are giving $6 billion to these Trump accounts. So a lot of these billionaires are contributing to the pot to give to the American kids. Shout out to them.
People are going to be contributing. A lot of people are watching us right now. They might not be $6 billion plus, but there'll be a lot. There aren't too many people that are in the 6 billion range, but there'll be a lot. A lot of friends of mine have already told me they're going to contribute a lot of money, and a lot of them are going to leave a lot of money in their wills, so that's very important. And as you watch us today, I hope you'll be doing that. Contributions to Trump accounts will also be a great benefit for employers to offer their workers, which they'll be able to do tax-free. It's tax-free. We expect hundreds of major companies to announce plans to contribute to these accounts in the coming months, and we've had tremendous interest in that regard. So the Trump accounts will be available starting on July 4th of next year. And Michael and Susan, to you again, it's an amazing act of just incredible everything. I mean, the life you've led to be able to do this, even to be able to, a lot of people have a good heart, but they can't give $6.25 billion. And Michael, probably knowing you, it's not the last of it either. It's not the last. But on behalf of the United States of America, I want to thank you both, and I want to thank all three. But I want to thank you both because you've been friends of mine, and it's a spectacular couple. This is really an amazing people. These are unique. And I'd like to have you come up and say a couple of words and tell us what you have in mind, because what you have in mind is good. Thank you very much, man. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. It's a great honor to be with you here in the White House. And, you know, when you passed the Invest America Act on July 4th of this year, we were really inspired to see that happen. And this is something that, you know, Brad had first mentioned to us in 2021. We thought it was a great idea then, and it's amazing that it happened. And We also saw that this act would become a platform. And, we believe the smartest investment that we can make is an investment in children. And this act has created a platform for families and friends and communities and companies and philanthropists to contribute to these accounts to create a savings and opportunity and hope and prosperity for tens of millions of children in this country. And Susan and I are super excited to announce our $6.25 billion gift to 25 million American children, 10 and under, and our gift will cover most of the children that are 10 and under that are not part of the federal program, the 0 to 2-year-olds, and who also live in zip codes where the median income is $150,000 or less. And I have spoken with a number of other wealthy Americans, philanthropists, and we are confident that others will join us because we all understand the incredible impact that a gift like this can have on the lives of young Americans. So again, it's a great honor for us to be here to be able to announce this. When I was 8 years old, I got a passbook savings account and I had, I think, about $8 in it. And you go to the savings and loan and you give them a quarter and they'd stamp your account. And I got to see the power of compound interest early in my life. And that has brought me here to this moment. And hopefully will inspire that kind of opportunity for many more young people in this country. So again, thank you for the privilege of being here.
Power of compound interest.
Thank you very much. Susan, would you like to say something?
I'd just like to say how excited.
The power of compound interest. What does that mean, Stock Sniper? That means that, like I talk about all the time on this channel, make investments every week, every month, every 2 weeks. Contribute to your favorite stocks, to your favorite companies, to your favorite ETF. Every week is a payment, it's an investment, and it builds compound interest over time. That's what compound interest is. That's what he's talking about.
We are to be a part of this. We believe that when children have a future that they can see is worth saving for, then that will help build hope and opportunity and prosperity for generations to come. So we're so excited to be doing this and hope to have many people join in our efforts. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Susan. So beautiful. Brad,
well, first, it's an incredible honor to be here, and we wouldn't be here without the passage of the Invest America Act, and everybody up here today played a role in getting that done. The Speaker, Ted Cruz, in drafting the legislation so that when the President placed the call to the Speaker and said, let's make this happen in the big, beautiful bill, Congress was ready to act. They had the legislation drafted. But I couldn't be more grateful for the friendship and the partnership of the Dells that really show the best of America. Today is Giving Tuesday, right? And the fact of the matter is, for decades, we've talked about the wealth gap. We've talked about too many people left out and left behind. This president was elected on a Main Street agenda to get the rest of America into the game. And that's exactly what this does. It gets every American child, 3.7 million children born every year, will now start life off with an investment account, seeded with $1,000. And then you're going to have great philanthropists, great Americans like Michael and Susan who are going to add money to those accounts. We're overwhelmed with the number of companies that want to contribute to these accounts. Already companies from Uber to NVIDIA, T-Mobile to Charter Communications, Dell, et cetera. The list goes on, and every day more companies are calling us, raising their hands and saying, we want to be part of this. It's like a 401k from birth. It's a benefit for the kids of our employees, right? Major philanthropists, but I think what this is going to unlock is the power of families. moms and dads Venmoing and Apple Paying and $5, $10, right? And getting these kids into the game. When we had the roundtable at the White House earlier this year, Dara Khosrowshahi, the CEO of Uber, said, you know, after fleeing Iran at the age of 9 with nothing, he came to America because it was the land of hope. And he said what the Invest America Act does is it bottles up hope for every child in America. Whether you're in rural Mississippi or rural Indiana, where I came from, inner city Trenton or Compton, you're now in the game, right?
And that's what it's
That
all about.
act alone, I think, reinvigorates the American dream. It reinvigorates.
That's what it's all about. Getting in the game early as possible. And it don't take much. Because guess what? Your mindset should be long term. And it don't take much. $1,000 into the S&P 500. And every week, every 2 weeks, every month, every paycheck, you dump it. You keep on contributing. You keep on contributing month after month, year after year. Next thing you know, you'll look up at 25 years later and you'll be ready to rock and roll. Not just you, but your family too. This right here, everybody should be talking about this, guys. Everybody should be talking about this investment accounts. Well, you might say, well, Stock Sniper, I ain't got no small kids. Well, that can activate that should activate you to put in work to start your own investment account for yourself. Start your own account. Open up your own brokerage account and start buying these companies that we already know, like, and trust. And every single week, every single month, just keep on buying these shares. Starts one share at a time. Next thing you know, a year be done past, a year and a half, you're sitting on 100 shares of your favorite companies, on the things that we use every single day. This is what we need to be talking about. But you know what? This is not going to be all over the internet. Every household should be watching this. Every household should be talking about this. Every household should be planning their own Trump account, whatever your last name is. Your last name might be Jackson. You should be starting your own Jackson account. Let's go.
The idea of free market capitalism. Too many people are losing faith in you, sir. By passing the Invest America Act and getting all these kids into the game, this is a transformational act in this country forevermore. Every child starts off life in the game with a piece of the American dream compounding in the upside of America. So thank you for having us here.
I think the secretary first. I defer to the brains.
Good afternoon, everyone. And I think this is a major change in philanthropy and for American working families. It is the merging of President Trump's agenda of parallel prosperity, Main Street meets Wall Street. For the next 5 years, every child born in the U.S. will get a $1,000 Trump account that will be with them and compound for the next 18 years. Treasury Department with other branches of government is going to do financial literacy, and we are going to make sure that all American families have a stake in the success of the United States of America. So every day when the stock market goes up or down, and we believe over the 18 years it will go up, and families will learn the power of compounding, that it will be a game changer. People who have a stake in the system and become more and more vested in the system, they do not want to bring down the system. They want to make it better. So I think we will look back on today and know that these Trump accounts, they have started a new age of the capitalism and market interest for the whole country. I also think that it is a game changer, as we're seeing with Michael and Susan Bell today, that Americans are the most generous people in the history of the world, and the Trump accounts will provide a vehicle for philanthropists such as Michael and Susan and many more to contribute. And at Treasury, we are working, so Michael and Susan want to do it for children born in the past 10 years, a certain income level. As Brad said, it can be tailored, it can be to employees. It could be a philanthropist could adopt a state, they can adopt a school, they can adopt a zip code, they can adopt a street. And so we will constantly see these accounts be topped up. For those of you on the Treasury, we'll be running this on the operational side. For those of you who would like to, you can go to trumpaccounts.gov today and see the homepage that has a basic outline. These will become operational on July 5th of this year. And we will have families start signing up for them. So, and that homepage will answer all the questions on eligibility and investments. And then finally, today we're here on Giving Tuesday. Michael and Susan have led the way, but I think that there's a chance that every Tuesday can become Giving Tuesday as more and more philanthropists see the power of this, of giving to American families, giving to American children, and giving everyone a stake in our great economy. So thank you very much.
I'll be brief. There's a lot of symbolism here today. Right here on the eve of the 250th anniversary of the greatest nation in the history of the world. We are the greatest nation by any objective measure. We're the most free, most powerful, most successful, and most benevolent nation that's ever been. And I think what you're seeing here is another exhibit of that. This idea, this vision came about because Brad and a couple of smart guys came up with this idea, and then took a few years to sell the idea to everybody. And then these visionary legislators over here, Senator Ted Cruz and Blake Moore in the House and Jason Smith, the Ways and Means Chair, really caught the vision. And we put it into the big, beautiful bill, the Working Families Tax Cut. We've been saying all along that was drafted to really help lower and middle class earners in America. And this is one of the great features. One of the perils of having the big, beautiful bill and having it all in there together, the President and I have talked about many times, is that there's so many great things in that legislation, we don't have enough time to talk about all of it. So we need a moment to really focus on this. Giving Tuesday is a perfect time to do it. And it's absolutely perfect, I think, that July 5th becomes the operational date right after the nation's birthday. So what we're going to see here is a model that I don't think anyone has done anywhere in the world. They wouldn't have the capability to do it. They wouldn't have philanthropists and great Americans with big hearts like this who've earned their way and really fulfilled the American dream. And they have a vision and a desire for more and more people to do that. And so now more and more Americans will. It kind of evens the playing field in a way, right? And everybody has an opportunity. So we're just excited to be a part of it, grateful to the vision, grateful to a president who leads from the front, who understands the potential of something like this. And this will be one of the many marquee achievements of the Trump administration. This will be one that people remember for a long, long time. And I think it can change the country. So thanks, Mr. President. Thanks, Brad, all of you for being a part. Thank you to the Dells. Really amazing. Thank you. Sure.
Thank you.
Ted, please.
Well, I want to congratulate all the men and women up here. And, Mr. President, I think objectively on the merits, the case can be made that there has never been a president who's had a greater positive impact on the children of America than you have. And in particular, in this one big, beautiful bill, I think the two most long-lasting and far-reaching provisions are, number one, the school choice provision that you signed into law that is going to unleash tens of billions of dollars to scholarships to low-income kids all over the country and is going to change the lives of millions of kids. And the second provision is this provision right here, the Trump accounts. These Trump accounts, starting on July 4th, every child in America will have a personal investment account opened for them. Newborn children will have it seeded with $1,000. Parents and family and employers can contribute up to $5,000 a year in a tax-advantaged account. That money will be invested in the S&P 500 in the stock market, broad-based equity index account. Two massive benefits that change this country. Number one, every child in America will experience the benefits of compound growth. Take a little girl born next year. She's born next year, she has the account opened for her, $1,000 is automatically seeded, her parents or family or an employer puts $5,000 a year each year into that account. If you assume the historic rate of growth of the S&P 500, which is 7% a year, by the time that little girl is 18, she will have $170,000 in that account. And if she keeps saving, by the time that little girl is 35, she will have $700,000 in that account. That is game-changing, and we're not talking the children of Michael and Susan Dell, the children of Donald Trump, the children of people of great success. We're talking the kids of a single mom waiting tables who could have $700,000 saved by the time she's 35 to get an education, to start a business, to buy a house. That changes their whole lives. But the second benefit, and what I'm really excited about, is we are creating a new generation of capitalists. Every child in America is going to be an owner of the biggest employers in this country. We've all seen the sad statistics of how many kids are losing faith in capitalism. Well, 10 years from now, a little boy is going to pull out his phone and he's going to look at his app and he's going to see his Trump account. And instead of thinking of big, bad, scary corporations, that little boy is going to say, I own 50 bucks of Apple. I own 100 bucks of Dell. I own 75 bucks of McDonald's. And every child is an owner of the biggest employers in this country. That will transform this country. Mr. President, thank you for signing it. Let me say, Brad, this would not be a law if Brad Gerstner did not pursue it with absolute dogged determination, relentless. I've gotten calls and texts from Brad at 6 a.m. and at 2 a.m. You may sleep less than the president, Brad, and that is a remarkable thing because I don't think he sleeps at all. And finally, I'll just say to Michael and Susan, incredible Texans, $6.25 billion is extraordinarily generous. Let me say, on behalf of 25 million kids who just got a gift from Michael and Susan, and it's not a gift of a video game, it's not a gift of a bicycle, it's an investment in their future. That changes their lives, and I hope and believe Michael and Susan are going to inspire millions across the country to do the same thing. When Congress passed Section 401k of the ERISA, I don't know that anyone realized how much it would change retirement plans. There's now trillions of dollars in 401k plans. They're going to be trillions of dollars in these. These are 401ks for kids. And Mr. President, these Trump accounts exist because you signed them. Thank you for your leadership. It's an honor to work with you.
Thank you very much, Jason, if you would just say a couple of words, and Brad, come on up for a second.
Perfect. Thank you. First, I would just want to thank Michael and Susan for the kind gift. What you all have done will be transformational for 25 million kids. And a lot of people we can thank for the provisions in this big, beautiful bill, but there is no one to thank greater than President Donald Trump. And I'll tell you this, out of every executive I've ever worked with, there's no one that's been more engaging, no one that has been more involved. And the only reason why these investment accounts are in the big, beautiful bill is because he helped convince other members of Congress that this is a good idea. This has been something that has been discussed for a long time, but no one could ever get it passed. But who helped get it passed was Donald Trump. I can tell you that from day one throughout the process. And so that's going to affect millions of kids in their futures.
Thank you. I was not planning or prepared to speak today.
Oh, my bad, Chad. Thank you, Dior. Well, this guy right here, I can't wait to see how much the commissions are for managing these portfolios. The parents are going to be the managers of the portfolio. Now, what they haven't said is what brokerage account, what company, as far as a brokerage account, that these the S&P 500, these stocks are going to be in. But the parents are going to be the managers of the account. So there won't be no commissions.
Okay, but the gravity of the situation is not lost on me. I have 4 boys of my own, 13 and under, and on the heels of a $6 billion announcement, I hope that that doesn't, go without some major headlines, that I will be making an announcement of my own that I will be contributing $60 to each one of my children's accounts today. Actually, to try to bring some levity to that, every parent, every grandpa and grandma can now look and say, I can get my grandkid this little toy or something, and maybe that's going to continue to happen. But there is a new option and another way for them to be able to invest and have a lasting legacy. And as a dad of 4 kids, seeing kids in our neighborhood, them to have that opportunity is something that not every day in Congress, as I've joked with my colleagues, is the most productive day in my career. But to be able to be a part of something like this is, it makes everything worthwhile. I'm away from my kids a ton in this job, and being able to be a part of something like this, a small part that I played, is something that is transformational, and I'll be able to look back on this and be so grateful for this opportunity that I've had to be able to serve in Congress. Thank you so much. I appreciate the chance to be here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Would anybody have a question? Michael, Susan?
Yes.
Brad? Please.
Yeah, one for you two. If you could, did either of you say you're donating how much? First question. And for you, Mr. President, is there an educational value to this in terms of not just the money in the account? What can kids learn in this account?
Well, I think they can learn a little bit about the free enterprise system, they can really learn a lot about how life works, how business works. They want to go out and make a living for themselves, because maybe it's going to be a lot more than we think, or maybe it's not going to be quite as much as we think, depending on what happens with the world and the market. We'll try and do very well in that regard too, but there's a lot of learning to be done, and I think this is a big step forward.
And your reaction, did either of you say you're donating how much?
Yeah, we already said it. It's $6.25 billion.
No, I mean, was the reaction between the two of you? Someone came up with the idea.
Oh, sure. Oh, well, so we kind of started with a smaller amount, to be honest. And we started talking about Texas only at the beginning.
And adopting the state of Texas.
Right. And then we thought about it some more, and we thought
Got pretty excited about the idea.
Yeah, and we went back and forth, and as we do on these things, and we
got
ended
more
up
and more excited, and next thing you know,
this is where we ended up. So, but
The number
a
kept
lot
climbing.
of discussion and consideration over a long period of time.
Yeah.
To
I mean,
come
we
to
believe
this, and we
this
feel
is
great about it.
the greatest investment that we could possibly make is in children, and we've been investing in children for over 26 years with our foundation.
Yeah, and there are 30 states already that require at least one semester of financial literacy, and hopefully all 50 states will do that. And as children begin to understand that they have these accounts, that creates a real need for our schools, our parents, our community organizations to really begin to grow financial literacy in the country, which can only be a good thing.
It's really an amazing moment that 2 people would do that kind of a contribution. I mean, it's just an amazing moment. And it shows you there's a tremendous heart in great entrepreneurs. He's a great entrepreneur. They're both great entrepreneurs, because he probably wouldn't have done it without you, to be honest. That's the way it often works. And I know this relationship so well. There could be a lot of truth to that. But it shows you that there's a big heart in some pretty tough people. He's a tough cookie, but he's got a very, very warm spot. And what you've done, I don't think is going to be talked about for a long time. It won't be forgotten.
May I ask a question? Thank you, sir. My question is about the logistics or the administration of the program. You obviously want to help poorer children. How will you help families perhaps who don't have access to computers or internet at home to make this program a reality?
Brad, do you want to maybe answer that question?
Sure. And please speak in the microphone if you don't mind.
Sure.
Well, first, Treasury, as the Secretary talked about, is going to be administering the program. And we should just say that Luke Pettit, the Assistant Treasury Secretary, has just done an extraordinary job with the Secretary in what I think will be the biggest consumer launch in the history of government. 60 million accounts are going to get created next year. And these accounts are going to be, promulgated. All parents are going to have to do is to claim the account. So if they have access to an Android phone or a public library to go to a computer and gain access, they can claim that account. And whether they claim it or not, the account is going to continue to compound. So they don't have a deadline by which they have to claim the account. There's time, right? And there's going to be a lot of resources. Think about this. Kids in school, we're going to have schools engaged, helping to tell them that they need to claim their accounts, to educate them, et cetera. We're going to run a big public campaign around this. So we're just getting started. Today is day one. This is an extraordinary contribution, but it's the beginning of a drumbeat you're going to hear for the next 6 months leading up to the 250th anniversary of the country. I don't think there's anybody in the country who won't have heard about this by the time we get to July 4th of next year. And we're going to make sure, listen, we know that wealthy families have access to 529 accounts, right? This is an opportunity, and the instruction was, how do we get the 50 million other families into the game? This is the first time we've done that because we're auto-creating these accounts for every child at birth, and so we're going to be very focused on making sure that every family entitled to get one of these accounts is able to claim it and get it.
Daniel, do you have a question?
Yes, sir. These programs seem to create an opportunity for parents to create unprecedented financial security for their children, sir. Do you believe that these accounts will be a big part of your legacy when everything goes down? We've heard talks about you being legacy as a peacemaker, but this is a really, really big deal.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I do think so, and I think it's a big part of everybody up here today. This was a group that was very instrumental, and in particular, obviously, Michael and Susan, it's a big part of their legacy. They've got a big legacy anyway, but this is maybe going to be as important or more important than anything they've done thus far. It's, looking back in 100 years from now, I think you're going to see some things that they'll be talking about this very day. So thank you for that question. Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. These accounts were originally discussed as a way to incentivize people to have more children. Are there any other policy proposals you're looking at like this to encourage the birth rate to increase?
Well, we are looking at programs. We're looking at, there's a certain Australian plan that people are liking and they're talking about. You know what I mean? There's a plan where, not for children necessarily, but it's for people, working people. And we are looking at other things different from this. I think this is very unique, but different from this, but very important. Yeah.
You mean the Australian retirement savings program?
Say it.
You mean the Australian retirement savings program?
That's what they're talking about. Yep, we're looking at it very seriously. It's a good plan. It's worked out very well. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, can you talk about what tax benefits these accounts come with? The information sheet that we just received said that when a child turns 18, they'll be treated like traditional IRAs and subject to a 10% withdrawal tax.
Please,
can you speak to when her children became able to access these funds?
They can access them when they're 18, or they can convert them to an IRA at that time. During the 18 years, parents or employers can donate with the tax deduction up to $5,000 into each account, and then philanthropists, like Michael and Susan, can add an unlimited amount to the accounts. So $5,000 from employees or families, and then gifts from foundations and philanthropists can be an unlimited amount.
Mr. President, you said that you have been talking to your wealthy friends, as well as you, Mr. Dell, about contributing. Can you walk us through maybe who you've been talking to and how much more we can expect on top of
I think the people you probably would think I would be talking to. There's a group of people out there that have been very successful, and we've already started talking to them. We're doing ballrooms, we're doing arcs, we have a thing that's being planned that's going to be a great tribute to the country, as you know. You probably heard about it. The arc that we're looking at by the bridge near Arlington, there's going to be something. We're doing some other things for Washington itself. and for the country itself. But a lot of the people that have, gone in and done a real job with that. The ballroom, I think Michael and Susan, the next time we meet, well, I think hopefully we'll meet before then, but we're going to have a big event over in the ballroom to celebrate this. We're building a ballroom that they've wanted at this beautiful White House for 150 years. They've wanted it so badly. Right now we can hold 109 people if you're lucky in a room. It's a beautiful room, but it's 109 people, and we're building something. You see the trucks in the back. You see the clanging, the banging, and when it's completed, it'll be one of the greatest ballrooms anywhere in the world. It's going to be amazing. So people that were involved in that process, I have a lot of friends with a lot of success, and every one of them, I would be shocked if anyone turns us down. We're going to have a lot of big contributors, Jeff.
On a separate topic, if I may, sir, you had a call with Brazil's President Lula today. Can you tell us what you discussed?
Yeah, we had a great talk. We talked about trade. We talked about sanctions, because, as you know, I sanctioned them, having to do with certain things that took place. But we had a very good talk. I like him, very good. We had some good meetings, as you know, but we had a very good talk today. Yes, I did.
You also pardoned the former president of Honduras, and he was released from prison
I
yesterday.
did. Well, he was the president, and they had some drugs being sold in their country, and because he was the president, they went after him. That was a Biden horrible witch hunt, which was, a lot of people in Honduras asked me to do that, and I did it. I feel very good about it. If you have some drug dealers in your country and you're the president, you don't necessarily put the president in jail for 45 years. That was a Biden-inspired witch hunt.
Did his letter impact your decision on that, sir, from Mr. Stone?
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Your decisions, recent decisions to Syria, renew many hopes for the Syrian people. And now the minorities in Syria, like Kurds, Christians, and Jews, they once helped, U.S. helped them to have some sort of autonomy and their rights being protected in the Syria. How do you
We're going to give them help, and I think Syria has come a long way. The new leader of Syria was here, as you know, 3 weeks ago, and he was really into making that country, bringing the country around. Not an easy job. Not an easy job. It's, centuries of problems. But I think he's going to do a good job. I mean, I have a lot of confidence in him. Yeah, please.
Mr. President.
In the broader context of the economy with these childhood investments, we just celebrated Black Friday in history, up 4.1% from last year, $26 billion. Hasn't told me about that. We also saw that they're going to spend $1 trillion on Christmas this year, $1 trillion.
Yeah.
Increasing 4.1%. 25 states, gas is below $3, a handful below $2.50 and getting better. Energy policy matters.
I like this guy.
And timing matters.
Who are you with?
Real American Voice.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
But
I like
timing
you very
matters.
much. Keep talking.
So if you invest in these children now, the better the economy is, better for the children, right? We're in a pretty good spot right now.
Well, I do, and I appreciate it. No, we have an amazing thing. We have over almost $20 trillion of investment coming in. I don't even know if you know that. 20 trillion, that's a lot by any standard, right? But Biden, as an example, I say this, his administration over a 4-year period had much less than $1 trillion. And we're up to 18, I guess right now, Scott, about 18 trillion in 10 months. And there's never been a country, China, no country has ever done anything even close to that. Even if you figure 20% of that, no country's done 20%. And it's because of tariffs and and I think because of November 5th, the election day. But we have now under construction, I guarantee you're expanding a lot of your different places, right, for Dell. But we have places like that. We have car companies. We have AI coming in at levels. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. It's amazing. And all of these places, hundreds and hundreds of plants, thousands, they're going to be opening, and they're going to be producing a lot of success, a lot of jobs. And I say it all the time. The king of Saudi Arabia said to me a year ago, he said, 1 year ago, your country was dead. And now you've got the hottest country anywhere in the world, and that's what we have. And it's one of the reasons Michael's able to do this. It's one of the reasons I'm able to be here and, having really run a very successful campaign. We won all 7 swing states. We won the popular vote by millions. We won the districts. I'll tell you, the district vote is the most impressive. 2,750 compared to 550. That's some difference. And we just had a tremendous election and a tremendous vote of confidence. And thank you very much for that question. Thank you.
Mr. President, if another conservative lawmaker said you won't extend state subsidies, will you make a deal with Democrats?
Thank you, press.
Mr. President,
Thank you, press.
will you make a deal with Democrats on
That's
ACA
it.
subsidies?
Thank you, Mr.
Wow, man, if all this work out, it sound good, chat. If all this really work out and it happens, I would love to see what company they're going to use to hold this investment account. What company is it going to be in? Nobody has asked that question yet. Is it going to be Fidelity? Is it going to be Charles Schwab? What company is going to be? But they did say that the kid, when he get old enough to be able to, understand what's going on, he can be able to look at it at the app. So the parents are going to be in control. So we're going to wait and see how this rolls out. It sounds good. It really do. But if anything, this should put a lot on people's mind, like about investing, about starting your own portfolio for your own kids at an early age. Like, if you have a kid that's 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, start investing with the thought of long term, because that's how I was able to retire before 50 years old. This process of what they just laid out. And what I love about it is that this is discussed in the White House. Chad, this is being discussed in the White House. Usually stuff like that you don't hear about. So we have to stay focused on what we need to be focusing on. In 2026, it's sounding like 2026 is going to be a hell of a year, because also, guys, we got the income tax coming up. And we got all these tax credits and all these tax benefits. Some people, a lot of Americans are going to see the biggest tax return that they ever seen in their whole entire life. So we're going to wait to see how this rolls out. But the thing is, guys, if you get this big tax return because of all these tax benefits, make sure you don't blow it. Make sure you invest. A lot of these things that I talk about this all the time on the channel. A lot of this stuff that we use, like YouTube, which is owned by Google, Apple, all this stuff that we use, Amazon, Netflix, all this AI stuff, as this guy right here is talking about AI, all this AI stuff, all this technology, all these companies, the things that we wear, Jordans, we should be putting a portfolio together. And every week, every month, however you get paid, it's called compound interest. We can't be worrying about what the billionaires got. You can't be worrying about somebody else's pocket. You got to worry about your own pocket. Billionaires get the biggest returns. Not necessarily. Because if you buy in on a company at a certain price, if they get 100%, you have the ability to get 100% too. So obviously you don't know what you're talking about. Now, if you're talking about a dollar amount, that's a totally different story, but you got to start where you at. But that's why you're supposed to go by percentages. Because if you know about investing and you have educated yourself about investing, if you have invested in yourself, to understand about the power of compound interest and the power of investing, if they see 100% return, you should see 100% return. If they see a 400% return, you should see a 400% return. It's all about education and the level of education. And that's the only thing. Most people are not educated on how this works. They're too busy doing what 2867 is doing, worrying about somebody else's pockets. We have to worry about our own households, chat. We have to worry about our own households. You can't be counting somebody else's pockets. I got to worry about my own pockets. I got to worry about my kids' pockets. I got to worry about my grandkids' pockets. I got to worry about what I'm going to leave to my kids and grandkids while I'm gone, when I'm gone. When God called me home, I can't be worrying about nobody else. So stop worrying about somebody else's pockets. That's what keep your mind closed, worrying about somebody else. If we spend time worrying about ourselves instead of worrying about somebody else, we'll turn out a whole lot better. Take it from the OG. You'll turn out a whole lot better. Now let's go over here and watch this, guys. Appreciate y'all for joining me. I'm your host, the one and only Stock Sniper. Y'all could be anywhere else, but y'all here rocking with me. And me, I'm trying to put some value where something you can take and think about. So let's go. Let's watch this, see what's going on over here.
Step to kill the Green New scam. It's part of the greatest scam, probably, well, other than Russia, and a few others I could name. The greatest scam in American history, the Green New scam. And it's a quest to end the gasoline-powered car. This is what they wanted to do, even though we have more gasoline than any other country by far. And people want the gasoline car. They want everything. They want electric.
Well, I mean, just because you think he's the worst president ever, that has nothing to do with building wealth for you and your family. What does that have to do with what we talking about? If they really gonna roll out these investment accounts, if you have small kids, are you gonna participate and get this free money to build wealth for your kid? If it really happens, we have to see. He said that these investment accounts are going to roll out in July of 2026. We're going to see. But keep in mind, if you're expecting a tax return and you are claiming kids, this tax return, especially if you work overtime, could possibly be the best tax return you ever got the whole time you've been working. Also, Chad, they're also talking about eliminating income tax. They're also talking about eliminating federal income tax. So we're going to see how this is going to roll out in 2026. I think I'm back. Yeah, I'm back. Appreciate y'all for sticking around. Thanks to Don for having my back. It's raining real bad out here. Bad weather. Let's see. Still can't hear me. What if you don't have young kids and your 18-year-old get the new account to help them? Well, once they turn, you don't qualify if you're 18. From my understanding, you don't qualify. That's like for young kids, 2 years old, newborns. And the Dell CEO, I think he said that he contributed the $6.4 billion for kids up to 10 years old. So if your kid is 18, they don't qualify. But the thing is this, the second component, that should put something on your mind. Well, you can start your own account, whatever your last, like Dior. You can start your Dior account for your 18-year-old, for you. The thing is to put us in the mindset of investing, the power of long-term investing, the power of compound interest. That's the thing. Even if you don't qualify, you should be thinking about what he's talking about. You should be thinking about investing. You should be thinking about that. And just like he said, compound interest. And he gave an example, like I said, if you qualify for $1,000, that's how much they're giving you. And it said you got a 1-year-old and you get your account and they fund it with $1,000. If you do nothing to it, that kid is going to be worth 6 figures. But when he turns 18, that's huge. That's the power of it. So just because you don't qualify for 1,000, that doesn't mean you can't start your own investment account. You can be like, well, hey, I don't qualify because I got a 15-year-old and the limit is 10. Well, I need to start my own investing account for my 15-year-old or for me or for you. And build your own portfolio easy. And just every week, every month, every time you get paid, buy the companies that you know, like, and trust. Invest into an index fund, which is the S&P 500, something like that as an example, and build wealth and hold it for 20, 25 years. Just imagine if you would have started investing at 25 years old or 30, and every week, every 2 weeks, every month you get paid. You're investing into an index fund. You invested into a good index fund like the S&P 500, which has 500 of the top companies in the world. It's built up. It's called the S&P 500. All the companies that we use, all the companies that we know, like, and trust is inside that S&P 500. And guess what? And every week you stay dedicated. You stay down till you come up, and you hold and you buy and you hold and you buy long term with the mindset that you're going to keep doing this for 25 years. And you started 25 years old. You started 20 years old. You started 30 years old. Hell, the way the stock market is right now, you can start at 50 years old. As long as you educating yourself and you understand what's going on. So let's go and listen to the rest of this, guys. Appreciate y'all for joining me. I am your host, And I hope I put something on your mind.
Here, we had tremendous support on this. From day one, I've been taking action to make buying a car more affordable. I signed an executive order to end the unfair, expensive electric vehicle mandate. As you know, we had to have an electric car within a very short period of time, even though there was no way of charging them and lots of other things. It would have cost $5 trillion to build the charging plants. And as you know, in certain parts of the Midwest, they spent, to build 9 chargers, they spent $8 billion. So that wasn't working out too well. That was done before me, by the way. I wouldn't have let it go forward. We're canceling the EPA's absurd tailpipe emission standards, one of the most important things that I've never had a group of people come to me more powerfully and really just devastated that they had to do it. It was killing them than the automobile manufacturers, the tailpipe emission standards. And I can tell you, your people at Ford were coming to me all the time, and they were saying, like, please, it doesn't do anything, and it's killing us. And it's driving the cost through the roof. And we revoked Biden's emissions waiver for California so that California communists could not regulate the automobile industry and ruin the entire nation of automobiles. And they were doing that, too. But we have that now under control also with your governor, who's got much more than he can control. Now, under the new rules being issued today by Secretary Duffy, the Department of Transportation will rescind the Biden fuel economy prices. And I hate to say that because they were really not economy. They were really, they were anti-economy. They were horrible what they were doing to the costs and actually making the car much worse. But these policies forced automakers to build cars using expensive technologies that drove up costs, drove up prices, and made the car much worse. The action is expected to save the typical consumer at least $1,000 off the price of a new car, and we think substantially more than that. Under the Trump administration, $70 billion are now being invested in the American auto industry. Ford has announced it will invest $5 billion across its Kentucky and Michigan plants. Is that a correct statement?
That's right.
That's a lot, $5 billion. You could do more. Creating at least 4,000 new jobs. Stellantis announced that it will invest $13 billion to expand its U.S.-based manufacturing by more than 50% and open new manufacturing facilities across the country. And I think a big part of that is also the tariffs. Because of tariffs, they're coming in. Not only the automobile industry, AI, we're leading China in AI, we're leading everybody in AI, we're leading everybody in everything. We have the hottest country right now. I will tell you, a lot of political people behind me, great political people, very successful political people. We have the hottest country anywhere in the world. 1 year ago, we had a dead country, and now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. And it started from November 5th, but it also started when we did the tariffs, and we've had tremendous support on the tariffs. It's bringing in trillions of dollars of wealth. It's bringing in national security. And I've stopped 8 wars, and of the 8 wars, 5 of them have been because of tariffs and trade. So they're very important. And General Motors plans to invest $4 billion as it brings its manufacturing back to the United States from Mexico. After falling by 5% under Biden, U.S. auto production has surged by 10% so far this year. You know, I won the auto workers vote, but now even the head of the auto workers said Trump is the greatest president we've ever seen. And he happens to be right about that. But we're protecting our auto workers, and we're making it easier for every family to afford high-quality cars. In other words, we're bringing automobiles back and the manufacturing of automobiles back into this country. We lost 52% over the years, 52% of our automobile manufacturing. You see it, closed factories all over the place. Now they're all opening up. They're being, in most cases, they're being knocked down, and new ones are being built in their place. And a big beneficiary is the state of Michigan, but South Carolina, even states that didn't really do too much with the automobiles, they're opening up plants. It's been amazing. So between automobile plants, AI plants, and plants of every other nation, really every other type, including chips, we're going to have a big percentage of the chip market very soon not because of the CHIPS Act, which was horrible and ridiculous, where we just gave these companies billions and billions of dollars and they just kept the money, but because of what we did with tariffs. They have to build here, otherwise they're going to have to pay tariffs. They won't be able to do business in the United States. And we're going to have a big percentage of the chip industry. As of about a year ago, 2 years ago, we had none. And now we're going to have a very big percentage when it all finishes out. So I'd like to ask Secretary Duffy to speak, and then Mr. Farley, and then Filosa, and Urbanik, and Castrita. And also we're going to ask some of our political leaders to speak, because let me tell you, they went out of their way. This was not easy. And people were brainwashed. This is a green new scam. And people were paying too much for a car that didn't work as well. And now they're going to have a great car that's going to be environmentally friendly, but it's going to cost you a lot less, and it's going to work great. All of the nonsense is being taken out of the cars. So, Secretary Duffy, could you say a few words?
Thank you, Mr. President. So yesterday at the cabinet meeting, the president was talking about affordability, and the way that Democrats talk about affordability is a lie. Today is a perfect example of that. So these CAFE standards used what was contrary to the law. The Congress set a rule that says you have to look at combustion engines. Biden and Buttigieg actually did an analysis using...
Buttigieg.
I'm sorry. Buttigieg used EVs and hybrids to come up with a 62 mile an hour per gallon standard, which I think the car companies will tell you is completely unattainable. So they spent a lot of money on technology trying to meet the unattainable standard, driving up the cost of a car, number one. And then number two, if they couldn't meet the unattainable standard, they had to trade for carbon, costing billions of dollars, and again, driving up the price of the cars. So, Mr. President, what Democrats were doing were not making cars more affordable, they're making them less affordable. The consequence of that is going to be that more Americans can afford to buy a new car, which means they're going to be safer on the roads because of all the great new technology we have that save lives. So we'll have less death on American roads. These rules are going to allow the automakers to make vehicles that Americans want to purchase, not vehicles that Joe Biden and Buttigieg wants them to build, which is important. But also, this is important for American jobs. The more cars we sell, the more jobs we have in this country. And so this is jobs, this is freedom, and this is common sense, Mr. President. So thank you for your leadership. And I appreciate what the Senate did with the big, beautiful bill and what we've done here today. So thank you, Mr.
Very
President.
much. A big, beautiful bill is it's something. It's amazing. Wait till people see the benefits and the lower taxes that they're going to have, lower regulations. So, how about Ford?
Mr. President and Secretary, all the important lawmakers here, competitors, today is a victory of common sense and affordability. We're very proud of Ford to be the #1 auto producer in our country. 80% of the vehicles we sell here we make in our country.
Great.
And we never left, unlike many of our competitors. We're the #1 exporter, and we have the most auto factory workers. And this CAFE standard that is aligned with customer demand is the right move for a lot of reasons. We were #2 last year in EV sales, we were #3 in hybrid, and we're the leading brand for combustion. We believe that people should be able to make a choice, as you said, Mr. President, and we will invest more in affordable vehicles. This allows us to invest in affordable vehicles made in the U.S., which we will take the lead on, and will allow us to make vehicles more affordable. So thank you for making this step for all of you.
Thank you very much. One of the other things we're doing, it's separate from this meeting, but I think everybody here would agree with it. If you go to Japan, where I just left, and if you go to South Korea and Malaysia and other countries, they have a very small car, sort of like the Beetle used to be with the Volkswagen. They're very small, they're really cute, and I said, how would that do in this country? And everyone seems to think good, but you're not allowed to build them. And I've authorized the Secretary to immediately approve the production of those cars. So you'll be able to buy, they really are, they're actually, some of them are really beautiful, actually. If you take a look.
Hello, Chris, how you doing? Appreciate you for joining.
Some of the Japanese companies do a beautiful job, but we're not allowed to make them in this country. And I think you're going to do very well with those cars. So we're going to approve those cars.
gonna
Would you
approve
like
them.
to say something about that?
Well, no, just that he never stops working, so even when it's on Asian time, he's calling me at midnight in the States. But he gave me the directive to clear the regulations on this, to which we have. And so if Toyota or any other company wants to make smaller, more affordable cars, fuel efficient, we have cleared the deck so they can make them in America and sell them in America.
They're really nice and less expensive, and it really gives people a chance to have a car, have a brand new car as opposed to a car that maybe isn't so great. And so you car companies start thinking about that. I think it's going to be a tremendous market. Please, would you like to say something?
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a great day for us at Stellantis today, because it's the day where we see CAFE regulation reconciled with real customers' demand. That's why at Stellantis we decided to invest through Jeep, Ram, Dodge, and Chrysler $13 billion in the next 4 years, increasing production by 50%, delivering to the market 5 new vehicles, and creating 5,000 additional jobs. That's because we believe in what you, Secretary Taffy, and all your team is doing in this country. We believe in growth, and we are ready to invest even more. So thank you very much. Thank you very much also for this great news of the K cars, which we are very interested in, and we are very looking forward to work with Secretary Duffy, your team, in the future for the next steps. Thank you very much.
We'll get ready for those cars because we've already cleared the way. You can start right away.
We will. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Please.
Mr. President, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much.
We support your leadership for this issue that is so important to the auto industry. I'm here representing the hard-working men and women of Orion Assembly in Michigan.
Right.
The facility, our manufacturing facility there, is currently going through a retool so that we can build additional U.S. manufactured pickup trucks and full-size sport utilities for our customers, and we're so excited about that. And thank you for your support. Secretary Duffy, thank you as well.
And this is largely coming in because of the tariff situation. We're taking in trillions of dollars, actually, trillions, and we have so many other advantages, but these great companies are coming back to the United States. They left the United States. If somebody was sitting behind this desk that knew what they were doing, that wouldn't have happened. They would have said, well, you can sell your car here, but we're going to put 100% tariff, and you would have never had the auto industry leave. Again, we lost more than 50% of our auto industry, and now it's all coming back, and I think it's coming back. Ultimately, it's going to be bigger. I believe it's going to be bigger than it was before, actually. But it's an honor to have you here, and please, would you like to say something?
President,
thank you very much.
Tom Castriota, sir. I'm the chairman of National Automobile Dealers, and represent 18,000 dealers in the country, along with 3,000 heavy-duty truck dealers. And what the actions that you've done as the president and your administration is definitely going to save our customers money. And you made your promises that let the consumer buy what they want, sir, and you delivered on that. And the other thing that you delivered was your promise in the big, beautiful bill, the tax deduction on loans that had gone away some years back.
Right.
And now that makes it affordable for our buyers that can save money through that loan of the tax, anywhere from several hundred to several thousand. So again, sir, on behalf of all the dealers and our customers, we appreciate what you and your administration have done, and of course our legislative support as well, Mr. President.
Thank you. That's very nice, and I'm glad you brought that up. We're allowing people to deduct. So if you go out and buy a car, and this is for middle income, but for lower income, no matter what, they never really had deductions. You know, rich people like deductions, but middle income people were never really afforded deductions, which is very unfair. You borrow money to buy a car, you're allowed to deduct the interest from your income tax. And I think that's going to be one of the most, in terms of your industry, I think it's going to be the biggest thing that we're talking about, maybe even bigger than CAFE standards. People are going to be able to borrow money, deduct it, so it's going to cost them essentially half. And it'll
help, yes, sir.
I think it's going to be a tremendous factory. They've never had a chance to do that before. And that's all done. That's all in the great, big, beautiful bill. So it's really terrific. I'd like to ask a couple of our political leaders to say, because you guys have done an amazing job. This was something that was going to be very tough. We had to fight lunatics to get it done, and they had no answers. You know, you just present them with the facts, and they just say, well, we're just not going to vote for it. They couldn't talk about it, but they didn't want to vote. I see Mike Kelly, my friend back there, has been with me from day one, right?
Yep.
What do you have to say, Mike?
Well, you know what? I think you hit the key. Everybody's talking about the same thing.
In
America,
look at the way they like each other. You can, you can see, there's no hatred between these two guys.
Yeah, as long as I beat his price, we're friends. You hit it nail on the head. The American people have always been able to choose what they want to buy.
Right.
They don't want to be taken out of a market by people who, quite frankly, don't even drive their own car, and saying this is the way you've got to go going into the future, and say, well, you may say that, but you're not in the market, you have no idea. And I know the business we're in, at the end of the day, if you were there with me, I'd say, Mr. President, other than price, what's keeping you from taking the car home today? It's always price. Yeah. And the fact that we can build a car that's affordable, that people want to buy, that's the key to it. What you've done is unlock the most ridiculous statute that ever came in with CAFE. It wasn't done by the Congress. It wasn't done. It was done by President Obama after the courts failed on it. So thank you for doing what you're doing. You're making America great again in every single way. Thank you.
Thank you. It's going to be so big for the auto manufacturers. People aren't even going to believe the impact this has. You know, Mike used to come to my rallies all the time, and we'd have a rally. It was like 0 degrees. It was freezing everywhere, and he'd sit there without a shirt on. And I didn't need that, you know. I didn't say it was pretty, but he would sit there in the cold, and he didn't mind it at all. I said, "That's one tough cookie, right?"
You lit it up. We didn't need any heat. You were there.
We had a good time. We had a lot of great rallies.
We
right?
did. We did.
Pennsylvania. Please, Mr. Congressman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I represent the dealer body. I'm a dealer, and we got some other dealers in here, but this is huge for the dealer body, the local car dealer. We're going to be able to sell what the customer wants. The manufacturer's going to make what the customer wants. We've got all kinds of options to the big bill. It's going to enable people, as we talked about, to deduct payments and so forth. As we say in the business, they've never been cheaper than they are today, Mr. President. And it's going to be a great opportunity for the dealer body to sell what consumers want. And 99% of the businesses in America are small businesses. Many are car dealers, employ a lot of people. It's going to be a great year for us. We appreciate your leadership, and we appreciate, from a retail standpoint, we appreciate the manufacturers going to step up and build cars that customers want and that we want to sell. So thank you very much. It makes it a great country.
He's also a very brave congressman because he was there on the baseball field that horrible day with Steve Scalise and some other people. He was hit. But he took it very well. He took it very well. You're my pal.
Thank you.
Thanks. Great job.
Appreciate you.
Great job. Appreciate it. Kevin, could you say a few words of wisdom? One of the really smart economic forecasters, I will tell you, beyond an economist. He's a real forecaster. Please.
Sir, I think that there's a massive macroeconomic benefit to what we're doing today. And the way to think about it is that the car that has the best gas mileage that you could buy that has only gasoline is a Honda that gets about 36 miles per gallon. Joe Biden wanted to make every car on average be above 50. So there's no car made in the U.S. that you would be able to sell 2 years from now, 3 years from now under that rule. Because what he wanted to do was make everybody have an electric car, as you know. But here's the thing, that if everybody had an electric car, then nobody would be buying gasoline anymore, and they'd have to take all the miles that they travel and put it on the grid. And so we would have to increase the production of electricity in the U.S. by 25% over the next couple of years if they had their way. And so you've really stopped a massive disruption for the economy with this. So thank you, sir.
And that wasn't the main reason, and yet it certainly is a main reason. You wouldn't have been able to do it even if you wanted it. It's just so crazy. That was the mandate, which we ended. Troy, would you like to say something?
Great honor, thank you. My family is a former dealer, 48 years, Chrysler Dodge dealer, and then I got into the political world, sir. Yeah. I had more fun in the dealership world, but I miss it, but I still play a big role in automobiles and grateful. I remember under President Obama when the CAFE standards changed, as Mike brought up, and going through those challenging times as a Chrysler dealer before Stellantis came along. It was Daimler before you guys got it. So thank you very much for being here and making these changes. And as you said, that interest on the car loan piece was big. And I know that Bernie led the charge on that in the Senate and get it into one big, beautiful bill. That really is a big deal, and people need to understand how big a deal that is.
They did a great job. And by the way, we had a great victory last night. Matt Epps is going to be great.
Kind of like our race, huh?
He's going to be a great congressman, I think so. Really, like us, right?
Yeah, he's like us.
one of my early endorsements, right?
Yes, sir.
Can we talk about it? Yeah, right here is the man. Come in. Let me say hello to you. Please, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President, for your leadership. But the thing I've admired most, you've been in business, you've been in the battles over the years, and you're helping us lead us out. Most people that are up here have no idea about business or small business. It makes a big difference. One is. Number two is, I would just say in terms of the tax stuff we're talking about, one of the things that get missed, and I'm in Florida, Sarasota region, is the ability to deduct. Most people have a small business, they'll have a lawn business, they'll have this, that, they buy a new or used truck. They can take that deduction, let's say they're in a 20% tax bracket, but the vehicle's 60 grand, they can take 20% of the 60 grand, get a $12,000 write-off. They can pay their payments for the first year. That's a powerful tool we don't talk about, I don't know why, but at the end of the day, because of what you've put in place, full expensing, that's the tool that would use. And you could just think about all the people in Florida, just general places, they're buying old vans or new vans, they're buying trucks, mainly trucks, and they're getting a deduction. They don't even have a payment for a year.
That's right.
So it's one of the best things for Florida.
One of the biggest things in the
expensing is a powerful tool. They can write the whole asset off the first year, take that deduction, put $12,000 in their pocket on a $20,000. Well, let me mention one other thing. Their payments for the first year. That's a powerful helping us lead us out. Most.
Yes, sir.
Can we talk about it? Yeah, right here is the man. Come in. Let me say hello to you. Please, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President, for your leadership. But the thing I've admired most, you've been in business, you've been in the battles over the years, and you're helping us lead us out. Most people that are up here have no idea about business or small business. It makes a big difference. One is. Number two is, I would just say.
Listen to what this guy say, Chad. A lot of people are trying to buy a new vehicle. Listen to what he says about the tax deduction if you buy a new vehicle. What's inside of the big, beautiful bill, as they call it. Let's listen, Chad. Pay attention.
In terms of the tax stuff we're talking about, one of the things that get missed, and I'm in Florida, Sarasota region, is the ability to deduct. Most people have a small business, they'll have a lawn business, they'll have this, that, they buy a new or used truck. They can take that deduction, let's say they're in a 20% tax bracket, but the vehicle's 60 grand, they can take 20% of the 60 grand, get a $12,000 write-off. They can pay their payments for the first year. That's a powerful tool we don't talk about, I don't know why, but at the end of the day, because of what you've put in place, full expensing, that's the tool that would use. And you could just think about all the people in Florida, just general places, they're buying old vans or new vans, they're buying trucks, mainly trucks, and they're getting a deduction. They don't even have a payment for a year. So it's one of the best things for Florida.
One of the biggest things in the
expensing is a powerful tool. They can write the whole asset off the first year, take that deduction, put $12,000 in their pocket on a $20,000. Well, let me mention one other thing. They got into the e-vehicles.
BS. What's BS? I know that's what it means. What is BS? What is it? I'm waiting to hear what is BS. What he's talking about, deductions for small businesses? How is that BS?
Electric cars. And I'm talking to dealers that come in and talk to me, and basically they couldn't sell one, they couldn't give one away. And when these companies, or they got in because of whatever political pressure under Biden administration, and they end up realizing that they got no market. A guy says, the car's been sitting there a year, I can't get rid of it. So they don't understand the market. the people who produce the vehicles, and that's made a big difference in your leadership. But thanks for what you're doing here today. It's big, it's huge, it'll make a big difference. $12,000 on a $60,000 vehicle up front day one. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great job.
Yeah.
You know, we're just talking about something that's interesting. Ford would make, and I don't want to speak for Ford because we have one of the top people right here.
Mr. President, it's fine if you want to talk about Ford.
But Ford would make numerous electric cars in order to sell one Ford 150.
Yes.
Because they'd make all their money with a 150.
Yes.
And they were willing to lose money on building 2 or 3 electric cars that they couldn't sell in order to make some money on the 150, because the 150 is a monster. I'll tell you what, that no matter where you go, they love that Ford 150.
Yes.
You know what's sad, Chad? A lot of people are going to miss out on what's about to happen in 2026 with all this stuff I just covered tonight because they don't like Donald Trump. A lot of people going to miss out to put their family in a whole nother position because of emotions. They can't put their emotions aside and see if this stuff really makes sense on what they're talking about. They're talking big business. They talking business. And it's a shame that a lot of people are going to miss out because they don't like the way a person is. It's sad. It's sad.
But isn't it a ridiculous model when you have to build 2 or 3 cars that you know you're not going to be selling or not be selling for much in order to really do something that you should have the right to do, which is make a car that you want to make.
Yes.
And that the market wants, right? So congratulations on the 150.
Thank you. Best-selling vehicle in the United States. Thank you.
Just saying.
Look at that. Now it's 100% built in the United States.
Now it's only going to do, no, but it really is, it's amazing. It's an amazing brand.
There was a lot of stupid things done here.
What would you like to say?
Yeah, I thank you, Mr. President and Secretary Duffy and all of us. You know, one of the last times I was here is when you signed the electric vehicle CRA, Congressional Review Act, that all of us participated in, the beginning of really making common sense because it was going to impact 17 other states and really a large part of our economy. This is about affordability here. I'm just going to say one thing. Well, maybe I already said one thing, so now I'm going to say 2 things. When we talk about a car and auto, we sort of talk about just, oh, we need a car. Do you know what a car does for a family? You can take your children to school, you can go to the store, you can visit your mother, you can go to church, you can have a job, you have the flexibility that you need. A car for an American family is about a roadway to prosperity.
Big deal.
It's a big deal. And so by making them more affordable, making them more choice-driven by what families want and need, today is a great day for the American family.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And the American worker.
Say.
Well, thank you, Mr. President and Secretary Duffy, and to my colleagues that are here. In Tennessee, we make great automobiles, and we have a fantastic workforce. And whether you're GM or Ford, with their new investment in Tennessee, or Nissan or VW or Toyota with the engine plant, what you see is the components that are necessary to build these cars. And removing these standards and making cars more affordable does mean that more people will purchase them, but it also means we're going to have to make more cars to meet that demand, and for Tennessee, that is a great thing.
So, you know, I'm just sitting here and I'm thinking, like, we have the biggest auto manufacturers in the world. They're talking about investing billions and they're investing it as we speak, but billions and billions of dollars in our country. Thank you very much. And they're not like, well, maybe we'll do it. They're doing it because of tariffs, and they're doing it because of maybe they like the president, and we're doing things like this for them, which frankly, no matter who you are, this should be done. And we're doing things like deductibility of interest when you borrow money. To buy a car, you're allowed to deduct it from your income tax. That is a massive tax cut for people that probably are going to be trying to buy that car anyway. And I really think that interest factor is going to be one of the biggest things. I was proud of that because I thought of it, and it seems so simple. Other people are allowed big interest. If you're a rich person, you're allowed to have big interest deductions for different things you do. But if you're a middle-income person that has to buy a car, you were never entitled to anything. And now you're getting a full interest deduction on the loan. And I think that's going to have one of the biggest impacts. But we're here with companies that are investing tens of billions of dollars in our country as we speak. It's not going to be in 2 years or 3 years. A lot of it's because of the expensing provision in the bill, and the big, beautiful bill. But a miracle is happening in our country. It's a miracle. This is just
Monster. No, not Monster. Michael, what's BS? What's BS? Michael? Explain to me what's BS. Let's talk about it. I'm waiting. What's BS? Do you have a job, Michael? Let's start right there. Do you have a job? Do you work overtime? We're going to start right there. You know it's about to be tax season. This tax season, most Americans are going to get the most money they ever got back on an income tax check. Do you have a job, Michael? Do you work overtime? Let's start right there.
the auto industry, but we have other industries where it's the same thing. They're building all over our country, and this is a revolution is happening. It's a business revolution. It's a jobs revolution.
Just think about this, Michael. You got a job and you work overtime. You work in the plant. You working 7/12s, 5/10s, whatever the case may be. And you've been doing that this whole year. You about to get your W-2 in a month. You'll be able to get all that overtime, all those taxes you've been paying on that overtime, you'll be getting that all back. Let's start right there. Think about that for a second. You work overtime. You've been getting good overtime hours. And they still been taking out taxes on your overtime. Well, once you file your taxes and you let your favorite tax preparer know that you got overtime, guess what's going to happen? Your tax return is going to be more than what you ever got. It ain't got to be 100% back. You're missing the point.
It's a car revolution.
Before, you wasn't getting nothing back. So you're missing the point. If you get 20% of the money back, that's still a hefty amount if you're working 6, 7, 12s all year. Think about that for a second. You went from getting none of the money back to something back. Just think about that for a second.
Bringing back the car industry that was stolen from us.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think it's up to 15,000. If I remember correctly, it's up to 15,000. So for some people, you're probably going to get close to that 100% back.
Because we have people that didn't know what they were doing sitting at this desk. They put the wrong people in because they weren't advised properly. And this is really an incredible thing that's happening. Go ahead, Kevin.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. And I think in many respects, pretty much everything that could be said has been, except that I think what Kevin talks about in terms of the cascading economic opportunity from this one.
I made $45K as a single person and barely surviving. Well, if I'm gonna tell you something, if I was making only $45,000 a year, first thing I would do, I would find me another skill. I would do one of the most important things. I would start me a side business. If I was only making $45,000 a year, I'm gonna make more income. That's how it works. I'm not gonna just have one way of making money. That's the thing. You gotta have more than one way making money, more than one way to make money, and then you gotta be making investments. And then you gotta stop all the spending. That's how it works. Simple instructions.
One single event.
A simple plan of earn, spend less, and make proper investments. Simple. And start a side business. One of the easiest businesses to start is the delivery business. You're making $45,000 a year, start a side business, a side delivery business. That's how it works.
It's just the tip of the iceberg. When you think of all the rules and regulations that you have repealed, I think it's more important, frankly, than the tax cuts. However, in the Working Family Tax Cuts Act, remember we made permanent a lot of really good policy from the first Trump era, not the least of which for small businesses is.
That's not being a communist. That's common sense. That has nothing to do with being an economist. It's common sense. It ain't, you don't have to be that intelligent to understand what I just said. I mean, you don't have to be that smart. I don't have to be that smart to know that.
Bonus depreciation, the opportunity to depreciate the year that you purchase an F-150 for your small business or a large truck for your farm. I just think we're going to roll into 2026 and we're going to see an escalation of economic opportunity, the likes of which I probably have never seen.
I think nobody's ever seen it, nobody in the world, because there's never been 18 or whatever it ends up being. In 10 months, we have $18 trillion being invested. We never had $1 trillion being invested. And Biden had much less than that. Think of it. He had less than $1 trillion over 4 years. We have $18 trillion in 10 months. And it's actually as of 9 months. So there's never been anything. Eric?
Yeah, Mr. President, thank you. And on behalf of the people of the great state of Missouri.
Okay. 9389. I get you.
Who we actually make things from F-15s to F-47s now, thanks to you. We'll be building the F-47 and then F-150s. And those are real jobs. And we make things in Missouri. This is going to go a long way, I think, for making things more affordable for normal people. Nothing could be more American than driving a car on a highway. And this is going to make that more accessible for more people. So thanks for your leadership.
Your state's doing a great job.
Yeah, well, they love you too.
It's a great place. Thank you. Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to talk to you just a minute from a rural perspective, because these cafe standards were absolutely unworkable in rural Missouri. We need vehicles that are practical and affordable and can haul for our small businesses, for agriculture, and it just simply didn't work. Those cafe standards didn't work. So I applaud you and Secretary Duffy for your hard work and what you're doing on behalf of rural America.
Well, it was keeping a lot of manufacturers out of our country, too. They said, we're not going to, are you crazy? They thought, outside manufacturers thought we were absolutely insane with all of the different things that were just made up nonsense. It was like made up. It was really made up by people that hate our country. I really believe. Does anybody else have anything to say?
I'd say about two quick things, Mr.
Oh, go.
President.
Bernie, I didn't see you.
Two quick things I think are really important. So the person who sat behind this desk before you gave $7,500 in subsidies to multi-millionaires who are leasing electric Rolls Royces, electric Porsches, electric Lamborghinis. We're getting $7,500 from the taxpayer. And these Democrats sit on this floor and say that Republicans are for millionaires and billionaires. We are the opposite of giving $7,500 to multi-billionaires to lease foreign electric vehicles. Number two, because of your policies, at the beginning of the year, 51% of the cars sold in America were made in America, 51%, before you got sworn in. Last month, that number was 57%. We moved it 6 points, which nobody thought would be possible in 4 years. We did it in 10 months. That's something that maybe the news should cover a little bit more. And we've driven down the price of automobiles. The car prices for consumers are down before you did.
Just about everything is down. You know, this whole thing is, they use the word affordability. It's a Democrat hoax. They're the ones that drove the prices up. And all they do is say, affordability, and you're supposed to say, oh, that means they had low prices. No, we inherited the worst inflation in the history of our country. They say 48 years, but let's say that's history. I don't believe that. Biden had, because of his stupid ways and between his energy policies and his spending policies, we had the worst inflation in the history of our country. And now our prices are coming down. And they're coming down for cars, and they're coming down. I mean, did you hear yesterday when Chris Wright from Energy, the head of energy in our country, said there are now parts of our country, it's all happening, $1.99 for gasoline, a gallon. And we have it at $2.50, $2.60. It was at $5. And that's bigger than any tax cut we could give. You know, for the average family, that's considered bigger than any tax cut. So the word affordability, when they mention it, you ever watch them? It's all about, I saw the young lady that lost last night. She lost by a lot more than they thought. And we have a great new candidate in Congress, really great, Matt Van Epps. But I saw last night, she said, it's all about affordability, all about, they never talk about like the specifics.
Right.
Everything was through the roof. Eggs, when I took over, eggs were 4 times higher than they ever were. We got the prices down to the lowest level.
Yep.
I mean, amazing. But they never, you got to watch, they're great con people. It's like the Inflation Reduction Act. And after they got it approved, because everybody said inflation reduction, they admitted it had nothing to do with reducing inflation. It's a con job. I think affordability is the greatest con job. They look at you and they say, affordability. They don't say anything else. Everyone says, oh, their prices were so low. No, they had the worst inflation. We had the highest prices we ever had, and now they're all coming down, including beef is coming down. Beef was up there a little bit. Our ranchers did well, but we got to make them do a little bit less well, perhaps. But the beef is now coming down. Coffee is now coming down. It's all coming down. And it's a beautiful thing to see. But remember this, when they use the word affordability, they just say, they never say anything else. This election's about affordability, and then they go on to the next subject. It's a con job. They caused the highest prices in the history of our country, the worst inflation in the history of our country, and we're getting those prices down, and they're coming down rapidly. And you'll see those results very soon. Anybody else want to say a few words? Oh, Ted, I can't believe it.
I'm easy to miss.
I didn't see. It's very rare that I would miss it. Go ahead, Ted.
Well, Mr. President, I want to congratulate you on behalf of everyone here for the leadership that you're showing. And this is a victory today for consumers. This is a victory for affordability. Your critics like to say the word affordability. Under Joe Biden and the Democrats, they put mandate after mandate after mandate on cars and trucks, and they drove the price up thousands and thousands of dollars. And with the actions you're taking today, and you put on top of that the one big beautiful bill, you know, most of the senators here on the Senate Commerce Committee, and on the Commerce Committee, we worked together to zero out the CAFE standards. We wrote that into the law that the CAFE standards went to zero. What does that mean? It means you can now, as a consumer, buy the car you want. It also means people's lives will be safer, because what these regulations did is they forced cars to be more expensive, and made of plastic instead of steel, because you had to make them lighter to comply with these standards, so you'd get in a wreck and people would die. The result of what you're doing, you're literally saving people's lives, and you're making it where families can afford to get a new car. These actions will drop the cost of cars and trucks thousands of dollars. That makes a real difference. And I'll make one final point. About half the members here are car dealers. And I will say my good friend Roger Williams out in the lobby, he tried to sell me a car, which didn't surprise me, but I just want to give props to Mike Kelly. He showed he was savvier because he tried to sell you a car, and you can afford a much nicer car than I can. So well done, Mike Roger. You just went to the wrong customer.
I was $100 cheaper.
The thing that Ted just said, it's true. Plastic instead of steel. Think of that. And people died because of that. The plastic was plastic in an auto accident, and it broke up, and people were shattered because of that crazy deal. But it's a really good point. Go ahead.
And Mr. President, I'll tell you, the Senate Commerce Committee on January 14th, we're going to have a hearing with all of the big three there and Tesla, and the entire hearing is going to focus on how your leadership has reduced the burdens on car makers. That's lowering costs, that's giving consumers more choices, and it's producing more jobs in America. And it's highlighting that's a real record of success.
Yeah, well, it's an honor. And, they were going by California. We had like 2 different countries, California and 15 that followed California, because you had 15 states follow California. And the rules from California were just like everything else. That's why people are leaving. That's why it's such a mess. There's a state with such unbelievable potential, but what they did with the car industry is incredible. And that was, the car companies didn't know what to do because they had 2 standards, and you can't build 2 different cars for the same country. And what we're doing today is very big. Would anybody like to say something? Would you like to say something, my friend?
I just want to say thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Brian, and we love you, Brian.
Oh, I love you too, Mr.
Okay.
President.
He's a good man.
Well, I appreciate that. I've always said you've tackled the three M's: mortgage, munchkins, and marriage. You've solidified all of those. I'll add motor vehicles to that now. My question, I got one about consumer confidence. We just came off one of the record high Black Friday, up 9.1%.
Record high, highest ever, biggest amount ever purchased in one day. Yeah.
Which I think counters this narrative of affordability, because apparently the Americans are spending money. So I want to see, how do you view that for a consumer confidence being so high going into Christmas and going into next year? And I do have one for the auto group after you.
Yeah, I just think that we have tremendous confidence in the country. One of the things in terms of confidence, if you go back a year and a half, it's amazing, we're like into 10 months already, but you go back a little bit before the election, because after November 5th, it started changing rapidly, even though we weren't running it until January 20th. But when you look back and you look at the enlistment of soldiers, people that wanted to join the military, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, it's like booming. It's all Space Force. But we had the worst recruitment in the history of our country. A year later, we have the greatest recruitment in the history. You can't even get in. Getting in is like getting into a top college that you couldn't get in. People want to be in the service now, and that includes the police, environment, and other things. You couldn't hire police. You couldn't hire anybody in the Army or the Navy. You couldn't get people in. And we now have gone from that to record recruitment. We're getting high quality people, amazing people, wanting to be in the military. They have spirit now. Call it what you want, but that's part of it. But they have great spirit now. It's a great thing. Go ahead, ask your second question.
Okay, my second question, I've got a lot of close family friends that are in the automotive business, own dealerships all across Southern California. They sent me a question to ask you. There's a thing called a mileage blocker that is installed on vehicles. It's a type of a computer chip which alters the actual mileage driven on the vehicle, so that when you have a leased vehicle that's turned in, they're losing thousands of dollars. They've got to go chase down these manufacturers. What can we do to track down these manufacturers of this illegal computer chip that's really hurting the automotive industry?
Have you heard about this?
Yes, sir. They're getting built in China, and most of them are coming out of Great Britain, sir. They're being distributed through China, through distributors selling them online through Great Britain. Yes, sir.
That's not so good. What do you think?
Look at that.
Bernie, do you know anything about that?
It works on older vehicles, and obviously, well, we got to do a better job of
Yeah,
making
I
sure we're
think
doing
it's
at the border.
something I've never heard of it. Very good. We never heard of it. That's pretty good.
Mr. President, you released video of that first boat strike on September 2nd, but not the second video. Will you release video of that strike so that the American people can see for themselves what
I
happened?
don't know what they have, but whatever they have, we'd certainly release. No problem. You know, we stopped every boat we knock out. We save 25,000 American lives.
That's right.
And if you look at our numbers, the drugs coming in through sea are down 91%. I'm surprised there's 9%. You want to? I don't know who's doing the 9%, but it's down 91, and we're going to start very soon on land, and I'm sure you're thrilled to hear that.
On Ukraine, Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner were there last night with Vladimir Putin. Can you give us an update about those talks? It sounds from what the Kremlin is saying that they're not going to compromise. Can you tell us what you've...
I don't know what the Kremlin's doing. I can tell you that they had a reasonably good meeting with President Putin. We're going to find out.
Hello, Sashi. Hope I said that right. Appreciate you for joining. You know, the new way they have people coming in the chat, this at, it make the letters real small. Kind of hard to read. I don't like the new format that they got.
It's a war that should have never been started. It's a war. If I were president, we had a rigged election. If I were president, that war would have never happened. It's a terrible thing. But I thought they had a very good meeting yesterday with President Putin. We'll see what happens. It's, you know, when I was in this office and I talked about no cards, I said, you have no cards. That was the time to settle. I thought that would have been a much better time to settle. But they, in their wisdom, decided not to do that. They have a lot of things against them right now. But you have President Putin had a very good meeting yesterday with Jared Kushner and with Steve Witkoff. What comes out of that meeting, I can't tell you, because it does take two to tango. You know, Ukraine, I think we have something pretty well worked out with them. They're very satisfied, considering. But the sad part is, if I were president, no war would have ever happened. They would have had 100% of their territory. Nothing would have happened. It's a very sad situation. So think of this. Last month, 27,000 soldiers. 27. That's like you take a stadium, a football stadium, not an arena, and you cut it in half. 27,000 people died. Young, mostly young soldiers, died last month, in 1 month. And that's the only reason I'm involved. You know, we're not spending any money in the war. We're selling to NATO. We're not being ripped off like we were under Biden. Biden was handing everybody everything we had, giving them all the missiles, everything they wanted, free, no charge. He had no idea what he was doing. They're paying top dollar, full price for everything. Goes to NATO, and then NATO distributes it. NATO pays us. So it's not money. We would all, I think I can speak for everyone behind here. The politicians I know and the auto manufacturers are good people. They don't want to see 27,000 people die for no reason whatsoever. And that's the only reason I'm trying to help. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, switching to Venezuela for a second. Have you checked back with President Maduro? I mean, is your pressure campaign working? And do you think how's your response?
You tell me, is it working? It's not pressure campaign. It's much beyond that, I think. But I spoke to him briefly, just told him a couple of things. We'll see what happens with that. Venezuela sends us drugs, but Venezuela sends us people that they shouldn't be sending. They emptied their...
What's up, chat? We got 75 people in the building. Appreciate y'all for joining. But I want to go back to this comment that somebody made in the chat. I've been thinking about it basically the whole time since I read it and spoke on it a little bit. I'm going to speak about it a little bit, but, you know, I'm doing this. I ain't trying to, you know, like pick on you or nothing, but I'm going to just use this as an example. Like Bill Davis, I'm going to use this as an example. The comment is, I make $45K as a single person and I'm barely surviving. First thing is this. If I'm making $45,000 a year, if I'm making $35,000 a year, if I'm making $30,000 a year, I can't spend 50% of the money, right? It's not about how much you make. It's about how much you keep, and it's about how much you invest. So if I'm making $30,000 a year, in an example, that's roughly $3,000 a month. I'm gonna use that there. If I'm making $3,000 a month, I can't spend $1,500 in a month. You just can't do it. And 50%, if you're spending 50% of your income every single month, that's too much. 50% is the limit. So if I'm making $3,000 a month, I can't spend no more than $1,500. I just can't do it. And that's the key. That's the main component and the main issue with most of us. We can't stop spending the money. I mean, I'm not even talking about investing. I'm not talking about starting, as I said earlier, a small delivery business on the side. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about something as simple as money management. Something as simple as I make $3,000 a month. I can't spend no more than $1,500. That's including my spend. That's including my bills. That's including everything. I just can't do it. So when somebody, comments something like that, I make 45K as a single person, and I'm barely surviving. I did better while I was in college in the 90s. So evidently he's an older guy. He's around my age, evidently. If he was in college in the 90s, he's about my age or a little older. $12 per hour and going to school and working, we are headed towards hyperinflation. The first thing, you should never have one stream of income. I've never had one stream of income in my whole entire life. I've always had multiple ways of making money. So if I'm making $30,000 a year, the key component is I got to spend less. I mean, I can take me personally, once you educate yourself about certain things and you put in the work and you stay focused and you don't consume yourself with all this spending, is what they're really talking about right here. They're talking about ways to get our money. See, they know, which these guys are all the top car dealerships. They know that a lot of people are getting a whole lot of money this income tax check. Guess what? They're ready to sell you a car. And guess what? And if that's your plan, you better turn it into a commercial vehicle. You better turn it into a business. That's what you better do. Because guess what they're doing? If you've been listening this whole time, they're talking about investing. They're not talking about spending. They're talking about making investments. This right now is the time to be investing, spending less and investing. If I'm making $3,000 a month, my bills are not going to be no more than $1,500. $750 is going into emergency, and the other $750 is going into the stock market. Point blank, period. That's just what it is. That right there is the key to get out of the situation that a lot of us are in. Majority of Americans, it's a stat. 60% or 70% of Americans don't have $2,000 in the savings account. Why? Because we spend too much money. I could take $3,000, half of it is going to go on bills, and that's too much. But half of it is going to go on bills. The other 1,500, 750 is going into the emergency fund. The other 750 is I'm going to invest it into the stock market, particularly an index fund, an ETF. Some of these companies that we're using right now. And I'm going to do that every month, every month, every month, every month. That's how you beat inflation. That's how you get out of this mindset of we're headed towards hyperinflation. That's the key component that a lot of us are missing. We're depending on one source of income, and that's a disaster for anybody. So keep that in mind, right? Keep that in mind. It's about your mindset and how you think and how you move. And once you realize it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. Every week, every month, it's about dedication, being dedicated. It's 2025. We're about to come into 2026. 2026 is about to be the best year ever, guys. Mark my word. Mark my word. 2026 is going to be the best year. And guess what? Everybody that's in this chat room, I want 2026 to be your best year too. I want you to be a part of this wealth transfer. And it starts with changing the way you think, changing the way you move, and educating yourself and investing in yourself and hanging around the same type of people. You can't be hanging around people that think like that comment. I make 45. Just think if you're hanging around a whole bunch of people that's thinking like that. We're headed towards hyperinflation. Well, that means that I need to make more money. It's 2025. It's all kind of ways of making money. In 2025, nobody should have one source of income, Chad. Nobody. And that's real talk. Nobody should have one source of income ever. Ever. Especially in 2025 with all these companies and all these resources that we got with this internet. There's no way that a person should have one source of income. There's no way with these phones, chat, and these investment apps. There's no way that somebody shouldn't be investing into the stock market. There's no way with the development of AI, with the development of all this stuff we just heard. There's no way, guys. So I'm going to leave it right there. I appreciate y'all for joining me, all 52 people. I appreciate y'all for joining me. Thank y'all for the likes. I hope I put something on your mind. We need to get out of the mindset of being a consumer. You got to realize when they talk about the economy, we are the economy. What side do you want to be on? You want to be on the consumer side, or do you want to be on the investor side? It's your choice. Me, I want to be on the investor side. I don't want to be a consumer. You say things are so expensive, stop buying it. Stop buying it and start investing in these companies that we already know, like, and trust. We're using 3 of them right now. We're using YouTube, which is owned by Google. If you're on an iPhone, that's owned by Apple. If you're on an Android, that's owned by Google. So, I mean, we got to change the way we think. And we got to help one another. That's why I'm here. And all it takes is a shifting of the mind and take it day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year, staying down till you come up and staying disciplined. So with that being said, I hope y'all have a great night. I love and I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me tonight. Y'all could be anywhere else, but y'all decided to kick it with me. And I really love and I appreciate y'all, chat. So with that being said, earn, spend less, make proper investments. Teach it to your kids and your grandkids. Teach it to your friends and teach it to the world. With that being said, this is the one and only Stock Sniper. I love and I appreciate y'all. To the next one. I had a good time, chat. I'm out. I love y'all, chat.